Misstep, all have led you to this moment of quiet introspection. You're about to plunge into the depths of the human psyche, into the shadowy realms of your unconscious mind. Jung's theories on addiction suggest that you are not merely battling a physical dependency. You are waging a war against the darker aspects of your own psyche, the shadow self that lurks beneath the surface of your consciousness, driving your destructive behaviors. As you continue to delve deeper into the psychological underpinnings of your addiction, you begin to confront the specter of your past. You realize that your addiction is not merely about the substance you crave. It is a symptom of a deeper, existential crisis. Jung asserts that the journey to recovery is not about eradicating your addiction, but about integrating your shadow self with your conscious mind. This integration, he suggests, is the key to achieving true psychological wholeness and freeing yourself from the chains of addiction. In this process of integration, you confront many painful memories and repressed emotions. Yet, with each confrontation, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your addiction. This journey is a challenging one, fraught with emotional upheaval and moments of intense self-doubt. But it is also a journey of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and ultimately, self-mastery. As you grapple with the complex nature of addiction, you also come to understand the transformative power of the human spirit. You realize that your struggle with addiction has not defined you. Rather, it has shaped you into a stronger, more resilient individual. Jung's theories offer a beacon of hope in the midst of your struggle, reminding you that you are not alone on this journey, that liberation from addiction is possible, and that the key to your freedom lies within you. As you stand at this precipice, you make the choice to step into the unknown, to delve into the depths of your psyche, and to confront the shadow self that has fueled your addiction. You choose to take control of your life, to break free from the chains of addiction, and to begin the arduous journey towards psychological wholeness and self-mastery. Triumph has been dictated by an insatiable hunger that exists within the recesses of your mind. This hunger, a craving for both the substance and the escape it offers, is your driving force. You're akin to a ship, tossed about in turbulent waters, but these waters are not external. They are within you, your emotions storming and roiling in a tempest. Jung would say this tumult within you is a result of the collective unconscious, where universal symbols and archetypes dwell, influencing your actions and decisions. It's here, within this shared psychic landscape, that the image of your beast resides, the symbolic representation of your addiction. A horrifying creature, it's a dragon, massive and intimidating, vividly embodying your self-destructive pursuits. This beast is not your enemy, however. According to Jung, it's a reflection of your innermost self, a projection of your hidden fears and despairs. With each swing of its tail, it mirrors the sweeping range of your emotions, from manic euphoria to suffocating despair. The dragon's eyes, fiery and fierce, wink with temporary fulfillment, but the promise rings hollow, a fleeting respite that is swiftly replaced by a gnawing emptiness. It's in this desolation that you truly comprehend the paradox of your existence, a thirst that can never truly be quenched and the constant pursuit of a dragon you can never conquer. Jung would argue that this is your shadow self, a side of you that is hidden and suppressed, feeding off your weaknesses. It's not just a destructive force, but rather a call to action, a cry for help from within the deepest crevices of your psyche. Your journey, then, isn't just to fight this beast, but to confront your hidden self, to grapple with this darkness, and ultimately to achieve balance. This is easier said than done, but the mere act of acknowledging this shadow is a victory in itself. For to understand your dragon is to learn its weaknesses, to grasp its desires, and ultimately to gain control. But as you stand there at the brink of this understanding, remember that this journey is not linear, nor is it devoid of setbacks. But don't let this discourage you. It is the very essence of your struggle, and paradoxically, your key to freedom. So, take the plunge. Dive into that abyss of self-discovery. Feel the icy shock of raw truth, the sting of revelation. Embrace the turmoil, for it is only within the eye of this storm that you stand a chance of finding serenity. The journey is arduous, painfully so, but it is one worth taking, a path that leads not just to recovery, but to the reclamation of self. And as you embark on this journey, Remember, in the wise words of Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. As you delve into the first part of Carl Jung's exploration of addiction psychology, you're gently ushered into a realm that feels oddly familiar, yet profoundly unsettling. Herein lies a powerful cultural critique that induces you to challenging introspection, compelling you to reconsider the conventional views on addiction at both personal and societal levels. Drenched in the echoes of Jung's wisdom, you grapple with his firm assertion that addiction is not merely a manifestation of chemical dependence, but a complex psychological issue. You feel an unexpected stirring, a quiet, unsettling revelation taking hold as you begin to understand that the addict is not an anomaly, but rather a product of our culture's inadequacies. Jung's voice almost resonates in your ear as he maps out the landscape of addiction, delineating how society demands conformity and compliance to its norms, often at the cost of individual authenticity. As you delve deeper into the work, you can't help but feel the sting of Jung's critique of modern materialism, the relentless pursuit of superficial success, and the perceived invincibility of the human ego. There's a restlessness brewing within you. This isn't a cold, clinical evaluation. It's a passionate plea for introspection and understanding. It's a humanity-centric examination of the psychological aspects underpinning addiction. Within this framework, you're invited to empathize with the addict, to comprehend the struggle for self-worth and identity in an unforgiving world. Jung's depiction of the paradoxical nature of desire and its role in addiction captivates you. He explores how society's obsession with desire can lead to its antithesis, the obliteration of the self. Addiction, according to Jung, is the devastating consequence of a society that encourages intense desire while denying the shadows within its psyche. As the layers of Jung's critique unfold, you find yourself questioning entrenched ideas. The illusion of control society proclaims over one's desires and feelings, the triumph of rationality over emotion, the incessant quest for pleasure over meaningful connection, are these not precursors to addiction? Is our culture fostering the environment for addiction to proliferate? In your mind's eye, you glimpse the silent desperation of the addict, intangible but undeniably present, a manifestation of a lost soul seeking connection, meaning, and ultimately transcendence. This sentiment anchors deeply within you, etching a lasting impression on your understanding of addiction's roots. Ultimately, navigating through Jung's cultural critique, you realize that the psychology of an addict isn't a pathologized other. Instead, you begin to see it as a mirror reflecting the human condition, our shared frailties and inherent contradictions. And at the heart of it, a profound longing for connection and wholeness that society often fails to acknowledge. As you slowly emerge from the depths of Jung's writings, the world seems subtly altered, viewed through the lens of empathy and understanding. You're left haunted by the insight that our collective psyche, in its aspiration and denial, might just be fueling the very addictions it condemns. This realization, uncomfortable as it might be, carries within it the possibility of empathy, compassion, and perhaps change. Imagine that you are walking through an antique bookstore. The musty smell of aging paper fills your senses as you brush your fingers over the rough, worn edges of countless books. Your eyes land on a certain volume, its title resonating with your present reality, The Psychology of an Addict by Carl Jung. Intrigued, you pick it up, and your journey through Jung's exploration of addiction begins. His potent, compassionate approach to addiction radiates from the pages, and you find yourself gripped by his words. He talks about our society, our culture, and how it often plays a significant role in our addictive behaviors, in a section intriguingly named Cultural Critique Part 2. And so, you delve deeper. You read with unwavering attention as Jung criticizes not the addict, but the society. He reasons that addiction often comes as an escape from a world that is overwhelming, a cultural milieu that is not sympathetic to our inherent needs for fulfillment, purpose, and ultimately, a spiritual connection. Addiction, he proposes, is a misguided quest for wholeness in a culture that often leaves us fragmented. His words echo your own experiences, stirring a turbulent sea of emotions within you. Guilt, shame, sadness, feelings all too familiar, but most importantly, a glimmer of understanding and hope begins to seep through. Jung's assertion that addiction is a cry from the soul rather than a sign of moral weakness challenges your own beliefs. It chips away at the self-blame you've carried around like an invisible weight. You feel the stirrings of a new perspective, of empathy towards yourself, in your heart, something you have denied yourself for quite some time. The book whispers that you are not a bad person trying to be good, but a wounded soul seeking healing. With every line you read, the emotional depth of Jung's argument resonates profoundly. It's an enlightening critique of the cultural norms that overlook the need for individual fulfillment and mental health awareness, norms that often lead to feelings of isolation and the ultimate despair that feeds addiction. The more you read, the more you sense how urgently Jung wants society to shift blame away from the person with the addiction to the cultural forces that often create a conducive environment for addiction. His words challenge you to view your addiction not as a personal failing, but as a symptom of a larger societal issue. Reading the book feels like taking breaths of fresh air after being underwater for too long. You are left with a sense of understanding about your personal journey through addiction, armed with a perspective that neither condemns nor belittles your struggle, but rather illuminates the path towards healing and wholeness. As you close the book, a sliver of hope finds a home within you. Jung's words, piercing through the cultural critique, serve as a beacon that guides you to recognize that the road towards recovery is not a path of guilt and shame, but of empathy, understanding, and ultimately, transformation. And so you embark on this journey, no longer alone, but with Carl Jung's insightful wisdom lighting your way. Every fiber of your being yearns for the ephemeral bliss that accompanies your vice, a relentless craving that whispers temptation into your ear, weaving its insidious tendrils around your wavering willpower. You've been ensnared by the cruel beast of addiction, a shadowy figure drawn from the depths of Carl Jung's comprehensive studies. You, much like Jung's patients, are a puppet of your unconscious, manipulated by the unseen strings of your darkest desires. The urges are powerful, a rushing tide that seeks to pull you under, drawing you back to that potent elixir you've been trying to resist. But within you, a spark flickers, a subtle hint of defiance that yearns to break free from the chains of compulsion. A turning point is looming on your horizon, the possibility of an inner awakening that could illuminate your path towards recovery. In Jung's exploration of the psychology of an addict, he states that the upheaval of the unconscious fuels the addictions. The unaddressed wounds, the unprocessed traumas, the pieces of your psyche you've chosen to suppress, they are the fire beneath the boiling pot. You reflect on that revelation, a mirror held up to your soul, the jagged edges of your fragmented self now exposed. It's in those quiet, introspective moments that you begin to recognize the person you once were, before the addiction consumed you. A ghostly image of a happier, hopeful self, shrouded in the fog of forgotten memories. A sense of loss overcomes you, and a silent promise whispers in your mind, echoing Jung's concept of individuation, the process of acknowledging and integrating the different parts of your psyche. The road to true self-realization is steep and strenuous, lined with formidable obstacles and hidden assault from your shadow self, the embodiment of your biggest fears and darkest impulses. Your struggle has,